The Battle of Endor, the finale to Return of the Jedi, is a brilliant example of a movie that combines three key events into a cohesive and impactful finale. It's a masterclass in pacing as well as balancing action, emotion and stakes, much unlike the finale to The Rise of Skywalker, which was complete garbage. And in this video we'll be comparing and analysing the finales to both of these films. In Return of the Jedi, the pacing is a masterclass in how to manage multiple situations going on at the same time without overwhelming the audience. The film cuts between Luke confronting Vader and the Emperor, Han and Leia's mission on Endor, and the space battle led by Lando. Each scene is allowed to breathe and develop so the audience can feel the rising tension across all fronts. You never feel lost or disorientated, and the transition between the three events feels seamless. It's structured perfectly to keep you emotionally invested without overwhelming you. Now compare that to The Rise of Skywalker, which is basically a constant barrage of junk thrown at the screen. You've got Rey facing off with Palpatine while Finn and his new girlfriend, I guess, are blowing up some random Star Destroyer while Poe is flying around shouting at his colleagues. There's no breathing room, no time to absorb any of the battles. You're just watching explosions, lightning and space battles that don't make any sense. They just threw as much at the screen as possible and hoped something would stick. Where Return of the Jedi builds tension across its multiple situations, Rise of Skywalker just drowns the audience in pure chaos. In Return of the Jedi, the entire final battle hinges on Luke's emotional journey. The duel between Luke and Vader isn't just about lightsabers clashing, it's about Luke trying to save his father's soul while resisting the dark side himself. When Luke finally snaps, attacking Vader in a fury, it's earned. You feel the emotional weight of everything that's led up to that moment, from their first duel in The Empire Strikes Back to Luke's internal struggle. And then when he throws away his lightsaber, refusing to kill his father, it's a triumphant emotional beat. It's not just about defeating Vader, it's about Luke staying true to who he is. Rian Johnson. Now look at Rey in The Rise of Skywalker. She's facing off against Palpatine in a climactic moment that is supposed to mirror Luke's struggle with Vader, but it feels completely empty. The revelation that she's Palpatine's granddaughter comes out of the blue, so the emotional stakes are just not there. Rey just zaps him with lightning and then boom, he's gone. There's no internal conflict, no struggle with the dark side that Luke had, no meaningful choice. The whole sequence just feels like a video game boss fight with no emotional payoff. Where Luke's battle with Vader feels like a climax of a personal and moral journey, Rey's fight with Palpatine is just plot mechanics, a hollow, meaningless clash. Return of the Jedi uses its visual effects to tell the story and not overwhelm it. The space battle around the Death Star, for example, is easy to follow despite the scale. You know what's happening, where the Rebel fleet is, and what's at stake. Destroy the Death Star's reactor or it's game over. The cinematography is tight and focused, giving you clear shots of ships weaving in and out of danger. Even during the ground battle on Endor, there's a sense of scale but also coherence. It uses practical effects, real stunts and real explosions, so every shot feels real and grounded in the stakes of the moment. Now let's talk about The Rise of Skywalker, where the visual storytelling is just a mess. The battle over Exegol is nothing but a blizzard of CGI with thousands of ships flying around, blowing up, and not a single one of them matters. There's no clarity, no sense of who is where or why any of this matters. You've got this absurd fleet of Star Destroyers literally popping out of the ground, and there's nothing meaningful about it. Where Return of the Jedi uses its space battle to escalate the tension and push the story forward, Rise of Skywalker uses CGI to drown the audience in spectacle without any sense of the stakes. The tone of Return of the Jedi is one of its biggest strengths. The film carefully balances the darker, more emotional moments with the slightly lighter sequences. You've got the heavy, intense drama of Luke and Vader's duel, where the fate of the galaxy rests on Luke's ability to resist the dark side. But you also have the ground battle on Endor, where the Ewoks provide a bit of humour. The Ewoks don't make it a comedy though. There are still moments of real tension on Endor, like when Han and Leia are pinned down by the Imperial forces. It's a masterful balancing act that ensures that the audience doesn't get burned out on an emotional level, whereas the tone in The Rise of Skywalker is all over the place. One minute you've got Rey facing off against her grandfather in a supposed life or death struggle, and the next you've got Finn running around cracking jokes that are about as funny as Jimmy Kimmel. You even have them riding space horses on top of a Star Destroyer. At this point it's hard to tell if the film is actually taking itself seriously. There's no consistency, no emotional grounding. The audience is yanked from serious to absurd and then back again without any tonal transitions, leaving us disorientated and uninvested. The score from John Williams in Return of the Jedi is a masterclass in emotional storytelling. The music in each of the 3 battles is distinct and perfectly matches the tone of the scene. The score during Luke's duel with Vader and the Emperor adds to the sense of tragedy and conflict. The more heroic music during the Endor battle contrasts the lightness of the Ewoks with the seriousness of the mission. And during the space battle, Williams ramps up the tension with fast-paced epic music that swells as the rebels make their final push to destroy the Death Star. The score tells the story as much as the visuals do, pulling you deeper into the emotional core of the film. In The Rise of Skywalker, however, the music and sound design is buried underneath a mountain of noise. Don't worry, I'm not about to dunk on John Williams. I'm sure his score was great. I mean, I don't know because I couldn't hear any of it. The film is so loud with constant explosions, laser blasts and lightning that the music barely registers. During the final battle on Exegol, you should be feeling the weight of Rey's struggle and the tension of the Resistance's fight, but instead you're just bombarded with noise and sound. Return of the Jedi gives every major character a role that matters. Luke's emotional choices literally decide the fate of the galaxy. His refusal to kill Vader and embrace the dark side is the turning point of the whole battle. It's his belief that pushes Vader to redeem himself. Han and Leia's mission to destroy the shield generator, well, that's the entire reason that Lando can succeed in the space battle. And Lando blowing up the Death Star is heroic, earned and thrilling. Everyone has a part to play and their choices directly affect the outcome. This is what makes the final battle so satisfying. Every character's actions have weight to it. In The Rise of Skywalker, the characters feel like they're just following the plot rather than driving it. Rey's final confrontation with Palpatine is more about her inheriting power from past Jedi than making any meaningful choice. It's all about destiny and legacy, but without the emotional build-up to make it resonate. Finn and Poe, 2 characters who should be key players in the final battle, are completely sidelined. Finn's whole subplot with his new girlfriend is a pointless distraction, and Poe spends most of his time just shouting at his colleagues. Their involvement is minimal and their actions feel irrelevant to the larger story. Where Return of the Jedi gives each character a meaningful role in the finale, The Rise of Skywalker reduces its characters to plot devices. Return of the Jedi delivers a satisfying conclusion because it's earned. Luke's refusal to kill Vader, Vader's redemption and the destruction of the Empire all feel like a natural conclusion of everything we've seen over the course of 3 films. When the Death Star explodes and the Empire is defeated, it feels like a real victory, not just because the rebels won, but because the emotional journeys of these characters came to a satisfying conclusion. It's a finale that resonates because it's been built up over time. The Rise of Skywalker goes for fan service over emotional payoff. Palpatine's return comes out of nowhere and is a lazy attempt to recapture the magic of the original trilogy. When Rey defeats Palpatine, it's a hollow victory because there's no emotional build-up. It's just a contrived plot twist about her heritage. And do we have to even talk about Rey calling herself a Skywalker? It's the laziest attempt in the history of storytelling to make the audience care about this character, because it couldn't make the audience care about this character over the course of 3 movies. Where Return of the Jedi earns its emotional payoff, The Rise of Skywalker fakes it with empty gestures and cheap nostalgia. Return of the Jedi understands how to balance spectacle, emotional depth and character arcs to create a satisfying conclusion that leaves the audience fulfilled. It's a carefully constructed film that knows when to slow down and when to go big, and every emotional beat lands perfectly because it's been earned through character development and storytelling. Then you have The Rise of Skywalker, which is the complete opposite, a chaotic, poorly paced, emotionally hollow mess that sacrifices storytelling for CGI spectacle and fan service that nobody wanted or liked in the end. There's no balance, no emotional weight, and no sense of real character growth. It's a film that desperately tries to wrap up a trilogy with big set pieces and twists, but ends up delivering nothing of substance. And that's the blunt truth of it. Anyway guys, thank you for watching. If you're new around here, consider hitting that subscribe button, and I'll see you again next time.